Sorry to keep you waiting.
So, E3 just happened. I wasn't there. Fortunately, everyone else in games journalism was there, so I got to see all these fun new trailers and read all this fun new forum trolling. Wow, how did we ever know what to hate and how to hate it before E3 coverage allowed us to bitch about stuff a year in advance? Anyway, a few installments back, when I was talking about the then still nascent Xbox and PlayStation motion controllers, I made an offhanded joke that, given how Sony and Microsoft were going to join Nintendo in the motion control age, at the same time Nintendo themselves was making news with a way old-school control scheme for the next Metroid, wouldn't it be funny if just as Move and what was then still called Project Natal were spreading their wings, Motion Control's alpha prophet decided that instead something like 2D retro gaming was the new hotness? So imagine my surprise when the feed comes back from the press events, and that's exactly what happened. Microsoft and Sony, to varying degrees, got everybody all pissed off, dwelling on their Wii Remote catch-up devices, ESPN, and 3D glasses, while over at the Nintendo event it was all about old-school resurrection. Along with the already known Metroid, Kirby and Donkey Kong Country are both getting 2D side-scrolling throwbacks on the Wii. Even for the stuff that isn't 2D, the name of the game is retro all over. The new Zelda, Skyward Sword, chucks the Twilight Princess stab at earth-toned realism for a rainbow-hued, painterly beauty we haven't seen in non-cel-shaded Hyrule since Ocarina of Time. And GoldenEye is coming back. GoldenEye! And of course, since it wouldn't be every other E3 without Nintendo turning an on-the-fence hardware prospect into a must-own by resurrecting a Golden Age franchise, we find out that the still bizarre-sounding 3DS will be the launchpad for the return of every damn Nintendo franchise in the deck, up to and including Kid Icarus.
Kid fucking Icarus. Holy shit.
Yeah. So, at the very least, we now know what everyone's plan is for this cycle. Sony is counting on expanded service, 3D gaming, and Kevin Butler. Microsoft is banking on doing an impression of Nintendo from 4 years ago. And Nintendo is doing an impression of themselves from about 1998. All in all, a pretty damn interesting show. So, why is the big prevailing news that everyone is all butthurt over Microsoft? In case you hadn't heard, Microsoft has officially renamed Project Natal Kinect, and it took the opportunity to show off a run of upcoming titles that, surprise, surprise, look more or less like Wii party games in HD. Given how much the quote-unquote hardcore gamer audience loves motion-controlled party games, you can imagine the reaction. Alright, now I'm not going to go and be Mr. Contrarian and try to say that Microsoft's show didn't suck. Yeah, it looks to me like it kind of sucks. I wasn't there, but it looks like it sucked. You've got to know what kind of crowd you're playing to with these things. The crowd that controls the post-E3 buzz is never going to be anything but dismissive of Kinect, and to a lesser extent probably doesn't even care about ESPN. Obviously, you've got to bring stuff like that up because it's your big Hail Mary pass. But the way you minimalize that shit is to follow it up with something big. Remember last year, Nintendo actually debuted a fucking heart monitor. Yeah, you know how they managed to make that not a total disaster? Because they drowned it out by announcing a Team Ninja Metroid game. Oh, look at Sony this year. Sony knew they basically had dick to show off, so they made sure to bring Kevin Butler along, because everybody likes Kevin Butler. All Microsoft had was Gears of War and that Metal Gear that lets you cut people up in midair. Everybody already knew about those. So, yeah, Nintendo quote-unquote won, Microsoft definitely lost, and Sony was just happy they went last so Kinect could absorb the lion's share of hardcore gaming's hatred for motion control. But can I ask, just ask, if anything Microsoft did or didn't do is worth the level of hate they're currently absorbing. I'm not talking about wholly justifiable criticism like Stuttering Craig's own pointedly concise summation. No, that was right on track. I'm talking about the epic hate being spewed across the interwebs, mostly by self-proclaimed vanguards of the so-called hardcore gaming. It's as though Microsoft had gotten up on stage and sledgehammered a kitten to death. No, wait. Actually, it's nothing like that, because the audience that's now declared Kinect to be the biggest disaster in history would have applauded for that. I've given up trying to understand the mindset that drives the sons of Master Chief, but at least this consternation about casual gaming had a certain sense of misguided logic to it 4 years ago when we all saw the Wii for the first time. It was new, it was different, no one knew where it was going to take us, and there was real concern that the literal grandfather of the modern console scene was going to abandon us. Well, guess what? That didn't happen. The sky didn't fall, the ground didn't open, all the games Nintendo was gonna make before they decided to also make motion-controlled party games still got made. Ergo, logic would dictate that the existence of Kinect isn't gonna keep Xbox hardcores from enjoying this year's crop of samey, rust-colored FPS releases. So why the hate? Okay, yes, it'll be bullshit if Microsoft expects installed fan bases of pre-existing franchises who might not be interested in Kinect party games to spend $150 for it anyway if they want to play the next Gears of War or whatever. At least Motion Plus you could get with a game if you wanted it. And yeah, I do think the whole experiment is seeming a bit misguided at this stage and to this degree. It was a foregone conclusion once the Wii established itself as the reigning moneymaker of this generation that motion control was in the future for everyone's next console. But as a mega expensive peripheral now, guys, ask Sega and Nintendo how well midlife tech upgrades worked out for them. How many new-to-gaming casual players who already bought a Wii are going to be convinced to buy a 360 and Kinect for a slightly sharper version of what to them probably looks like the same damn thing? For that matter, how many 360 owners who might want Wii-style games are there that didn't already just buy a damn Wii? But you see, that's not hate. That's skepticism. I want to know what it is about Kinect that people seem to hate. I'm not talking about the games. You don't like motion-controlled party games? Me either, for the most part. Not my thing. So you want to hate those? Go ahead and hate them. Or better yet, just don't play them. Again, this isn't the Wii, where there at first seemed like a very real chance that the whole console would go in that one direction and leave more traditional Nintendo fans high and dry. Granted, that ended up not being at all or anything close to the case, but still, it was a vague possibility. Trust me, Kinect is not that. It is not going to divert any attention or production time away from the next Call of Gears or War of Duty or whatever. If you don't want to play the Kinect party games, simply don't play them, and their existence will have absolutely no effect on you or your gaming life. At all, ever. Well, except maybe you'll see them in the store when you go to buy the next Halo. And you know what? I have a depressing feeling that that's what's really going on here. It's not about hating Kinect, is it? No, it's about hating the idea of Kinect, the imagery of Kinect. It's about hating the people Kinect is supposed to be targeting. And I get that. We're gamers. We've been gamers. We like our insularity, our impenetrability. We like gaming as this strange world of gunmen and monsters and eldritch horrors that you either get or you don't get. We've come to cherish the notion of gaming as this mysterious world unto itself that the normals just couldn't hope to understand. The initial push for the Wii and now for Kinect and Move flew in the face of all of that. Selling gaming as something that could occupy a sunlit living room and be enjoyed by families and old people and even folks who wouldn't know a Master Sword from a bottle opener. That scared us. That's where the Kinect hate is coming from, or at least a whole lot of it. We don't like the idea of having the same hobby as people who look like the cast of a fucking minivan commercial, right? A game console should look as out of place in a posh family room entertainment center as Cthulhu in a Precious Moments diorama, right? It's almost like the 360 is suddenly that best friend who used to be totally cool and into all the same edgy, geeky shit as you were, but then he started dating that stuck-up chick, and now you see him in khakis and fucking rugby shirts like any other yuppie cockmonger, and you're like, dude, what the fuck happened, man? Well, you know what? It's time to get over that shit. It's tired, and it makes us look like idiots. If your ability to enjoy gaming is going to be negatively impacted by the idea of other people you're vaguely resentful of also enjoying some other type of game somewhere else that's not around you, well, your real problem is that you're insecure, and you should probably seek some help. Or just grow the fuck up. The jury is still out on Kinect. As of right now, it and Move both just look like really expensive Me Too's with dubious prospects of success. But the hate is uncalled for, especially if it's coming from the immature place it seems to be. Guys, we're better than this. We can do better than this.